Thank you. We'll now go on with the briefing. Tomorrow, our guest will be Jean-Philippe Antolin, IOM's Humanitarian Response and Recovery Specialist for Latin America and the Caribbean. He'll be joining us from Colombia to brief on the update on the humanitarian situation there following the earthquake. Let me start off with the issues surrounding the International Criminal Court. We've seen the announcement by the United States regarding the imposition of sanctions on the International Criminal Court President, Tomoko Akane, as well as a senior trial lawyer, Abdoulaye Sey. I can tell you that the Secretary-General expresses serious concern about this designation, as well as the ongoing designation of other International Criminal Court employees. While the United Nations and the International Criminal Court are separate institutions with separate and distinct mandates, as we've often said, the United Nations considers the ICC a key pillar of international criminal justice, and the Secretary-General very much respects its work. Turning to the occupied West Bank, I can tell you that the Secretary-General is deeply alarmed by reports of new illegal Israeli settlement outposts in the occupied West Bank, including new tenders, including for the E1 area. He's particularly concerned about the developments related to these E1 settlement, which would effectively sever the connection between the northern and the southern West Bank. As such, it would have severe consequences for the territorial integrity of the occupied Palestinian territory and present an existential threat to the two-state solution. The Secretary-General calls on Israel to refrain from taking any further steps in this regard and to act in accordance with relevant United Nations resolutions in line with the International Court of Justice advisory opinion of July 19, 2024. Meanwhile, on the ground, Israeli forces launched today an operation in Dahriya near Hebron, imposing a curfew, deploying snipers on rooftops and blocking roads with earth mounds. Our humanitarian partners estimate that roughly 40,000 people, including children, are currently under curfew and not permitted to leave their homes. This is having an immediate humanitarian impact because people cannot replenish supplies, access essential services, or just get to their workplace. About 7 Palestinian homes have also reportedly been used as interrogation centers after Israeli forces confined families to single rooms. That's what colleagues are telling us on the ground, and also a number of arrests have been reported. Homes and families must be protected, and any security operation must be conducted in a manner that respects international law, including the protection and dignity of persons and civilians. We and our partners continue to provide vital support to people in the West Bank. Yesterday, our colleagues from UNRWA said that about 4,000 children joined their summer camps in 34 schools across that area. These children are taking part in sports, art, theater, and psychosocial support activities. In Gaza, our partners leading on security and safety reported Israeli military activities on areas located in west of the so-called Yellow Line. According to initial local reports, an Israeli airstrike killed at least 7 people and injured others in Gaza, in a Gaza City seaport yesterday. Such incidents obviously put civilians at risk and will restrict their ability to seek safety, medical care, and humanitarian assistance. Turning to Lebanon, to mark World Humanitarian Day, our resident and humanitarian coordinator for Lebanon, Imran Riza, met today with partners to pay tribute to aid workers and reaffirm the need to protect them. He heard from those who have continued working throughout the escalation of hostilities while being directly affected by those hostilities themselves, highlighting the importance of mental health and the vital role of women-led organizations and our partners. Since March 2nd, 21 humanitarian aid workers have been killed and 25 wounded in Lebanon. That's according to our database. This follows the humanitarian coordinator's visit yesterday to the Tebmine Government Hospital in Nabatea, where he met health workers who've continued providing care despite repeated damage to the health facilities. Since the 2nd of March, the hospital reported 14 security incidents impacting the facilities, including injuries to staff and damage to infrastructure, as well as ambulances. He also met with local authorities, as well as the Lebanese Red Cross, paramedics, and volunteers to honor the volunteers killed and injured during the escalation of hostilities. We reiterate that civilians, including health and humanitarian workers, civilian infrastructure must be protected. Humanitarian workers must be able to carry out their work safely and without interference. The Deputy Secretary-General a little update on travel of our Deputy Secretary-General. She is on her way to Xi'an in China, where in cooperation with the government of China, she will convene the third dialogue on artificial intelligence and human development. That will take place tomorrow and Friday. The convening is part of the global series of high-level dialogues bringing together leading thinkers from around the country, around the region, and around the world to examine how once humanity's most transformative technologies is shaping human progress. While in China, she will also meet with senior government officials. On Saturday, she will be in Beijing, where she'll meet with members of the UN country team there to discuss cooperation in support of national development priorities and the implementation of the 2030 Agenda. On the 23rd, she will head to Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia on behalf of the Secretary-General to attend the 17th session of the Conference of Parties of the UN Convention to Combat Desertification. During the visit, she will underscore the need to accelerate land restoration, strengthen resilience, and advance sustainable development in the face of growing challenges posed by desertification, land degradation, and drought. On the margins of the conference, she will meet with the heads of delegations, senior officials, as well as UN colleagues. On her return journey, she will stop over in India, where in New Delhi, she will meet with senior government officials to discuss UN-India cooperation and India's engagement in advancing sustainable development. In India, she will also meet with students of the Indian Institute of Technology to exchange the opportunities and challenges to leverage digital innovation in support of the Sustainable Development Goals. The Deputy Secretary-General will be back here on the 28th of this month. Moving to Sudan, our colleagues at the International Organization for Migration tell us that over the past 72 hours, they've delivered 1,700 metric tons of humanitarian supplies, including 17,700 hygiene kits and 850 tents, directly benefiting more than 110,000 people in areas where the needs are most acute. This assistance is expected to reach more than 400,000 people in the next coming days. The scale of needs remains enormous. IOM estimates that 8.6 million human beings are internally displaced across Sudan, alongside significant cross-border movement into neighboring countries. This is a man-made humanitarian crisis. It is being driven by the continued conflict and the compounded by displacement, attacks on critical infrastructure, and seasonal floods. Just to give you a sense of how dire the situation is, in North Kordofan, intensified fighting and drone strikes in El Obeid's main electrical transformer has caused prolonged power outages, disrupting water pumping, health facilities, telecommunications, conditions that are inevitably forcing more people to flee their homes and to seek safety, often in places where there is no safety. Heavy rainfall in Tawila in North Darfur destroyed or damaged nearly 1,300 homes last week, displacing 1,000 families. IOM is calling for greater international support to ensure life-saving assistance can continue to reach millions of people. And in Somalia, our OCHA colleagues warn that severe drought and shrinking humanitarian assistance, including funding shortfalls, are taking a heavy toll on communities and their livelihoods, especially in the north and central parts of the regions of the country. The situation is particularly dire in the northern and northeastern region, where up to 1.9 million people are estimated to be acutely food insecure. Because of the drought, more than 3/4 of traditional water sources in some regions have dried up. This is obviously threatening health and nutrition and agriculture at a time where 1.9 million children are suffering from acute malnutrition. 10 public hospitals in 3 of these northern districts are also struggling to remain open because of insufficient funding. Meanwhile, the ripple effects of the conflict in the Middle East are also adding further pressure in Somalia, causing higher fuel prices, disruption of maritime supply chains. which is driving up prices to some levels of up to 20%. Emergency Relief Coordinator Tom Fletcher allocated $10 million to rapid response to the drought in Somalia, but overall funding remains critically low, hampering humanitarian response. As of today, the humanitarian appeal is less than 1/3 funded. The situation could worsen between October and December, when El Nino is expected to increase the risk of widespread flooding. We and our partners have stepped up preparation for El Nino, but urgently need more money. From Venezuela, our humanitarian colleagues tell us that humanitarian organizations continue to support communities impacted by the devastating earthquakes that hit the country almost 2 months ago now. The death toll, according to local authorities, has surpassed 6,400. Our humanitarian colleagues are supporting more than 80 international and local organizations, as well as authorities, to help people recovering from the earthquakes and floods. More than 300,000 people have received food, health services, clean water, hygiene support through the earthquake response, which aims to reach 1.3 million people in the next 6 months. At the same time, we and our partners continue to support people in need across the country through the broader humanitarian response plan for 2026, which predated the earthquake and reached as many as 1.2 million people by the end of July. The humanitarian response plan is only 40% funded, having a funding gap of about $530 million. Speaking of money, we have a little quiz for you today. This country is host to the architect's Frank Gehry's only design in Latin America. And he designed a museum called the Bio Museo, which will open in 2014. What country hosts the only Frank Gehry design in Latin America? Not Mexico. We say, I know you're looking for Chris. Sorry, he's not here, so I will answer for him. It is Panama. And we thank our friends in Panama City for their full payment to the regular budget. It brings up to 129, and Panama paid us $2,738,209, and we appreciate every single one of those pennies. We have money, and I'm ready to answer questions now that we have money.